Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the podcast formerly known and forever known as The Bakery. It's your boy, Mac Diesel, the host with the most, the best, better than the rest. And today, I am here after a long week, maybe 2 week break. I'm not sure. It's currently what time is it? 11:43 right now. So it's been a while. And I'm a little sleepy. I'm a little tired, but the grind don't stop, so I got to keep it going. Today's going to be pretty good, or this episode's going to be pretty good because we're going to talk about football. Football's back. We just had game 1 of the football season tonight between the Ravens and the Chiefs. I think it was, after watching it, it was really good. I think the season's going to be good. So we'll get into that a little bit more. And then we'll go into studio sesh, which we talk about, Drake music being dropped, other music being dropped as well. And then we'll also talk about Rich Homie Quan. RIP to that brother. Sad that it happened. Sad news. But we'll get into it when the time comes. And then we'll also move next into movies and friends. Talk about how I have not watched any movies, but I did start the Breaking Bad. So we got a lot of things to cover on. So just bear with me. Stay with me. Let's get it popping. Let's get it cracking. Let's get it going. So football is back officially. Night 1 was today on the 5th of September. We had the Ravens versus the Chiefs. I also started fantasy football as well. So that's going to be a good, interesting topic. And then I'll just tell you a little bit of my favorite teams and things like that once I finish what I'm talking about. But opening night, let's kind of talk about that for a second, right? I mean, we've been waiting for so long for football season to come back. And it's always around the same time, when we just get out of, or we get to the end of basketball season. For those teams that don't make it, the season's kind of over for you. And then we get into going into the NBA finals. Then not the NBA finals, but the NBA playoffs. And then you also have Super Bowl and all that, It's always a bunch of stuff at the end of the year that happens all at once. So I'm probably not saying the order right. But I just want to talk about how football is it's just so beautiful to watch sometimes. And then there are other times where it just doesn't make any sense. But opening night tonight was probably one of the better games I've watched in a very long time since I started watching football, period. Kansas City versus Baltimore, 2 top-tier quarterbacks. You got Patrick Mahomes, and then you got, I almost said Ray Lewis. He's not on that team, and he's not a quarterback. But you got Lamar Jackson. 2 very talented young black quarterbacks. 2, top picks for anybody's fantasy team. I just think that the fact that they put them against each other just made sense. And the fact that opening night was, I wish it was on a Monday, but having it on a Thursday kind of leads into the climax of the weekend, because you got Thursday night that happened tonight, then you got tomorrow, which is today if you're watching this today, on Friday the 6th, which that'll be the Eagles versus Green Bay, which will be a very interesting game as well. They're having it over in Brazil somewhere. And then you have Saturday, which is college football. College football is always good to watch. And then you got Sunday, which is where everybody else plays. So you pretty much, and then it goes into Monday too. So it's just 4 days, 5 days of just greatness. But just to get back on topic with opening night, I think what I saw tonight was the beginning of a good season. The way that both teams were just kind of going back and forth and trying to make things work with the new rosters that they do have, it kind of makes you think a little bit, kind of puts yourself in their shoes a little bit, like, okay, this is what I have. This is not from last season, but I'm going to try to make this work to not only my benefit, not only my team's benefit, but us as a whole, right? And then it's also kind of like you want to put on a show for people that are watching at home. And that's not always easy. You sometimes have football teams and games where it's a complete blowout, and 9 times out of 10 that's because that team's not very well put together, or they just don't have the correct pieces that they might need. So it's a 50-50 gamble, you know what I mean? So when you put yourself in a football player's shoes, right, you want to perform to a high level. And that's across the board, whether you're playing offense, defense, whether you have to catch the ball, whether you're throwing it, whether you kicking it, all around whatever position you're playing, it has to be at a high level. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of backlash from a lot of fans and a lot of people who love the game that much. And it can sometimes make a person or a player just feel like they're just not good enough. But a lot of these players are so ambitious and self-driven and self-motivated that they don't let that kind of stuff distract them from their ultimate goal. And the ultimate goal is to win a championship, a Super Bowl even. I can take it back to when I started playing football myself. It's like, I want that championship. I want to be recognized. I want to be noticed for my talents, and not so much the negatives, but more so the positives. The positives are always going to outweigh the negatives at the end of the day, especially for me, because I'm not thinking about or letting linger what negative things have happened throughout my year or throughout my season. So it's like, what ways can I get better? What ways can I, be on top of my game? And I feel as though like a lot of players are so in tune with each other that they help each other grow, whether that be in the same position or a different position. I think if and when players are in their off season, you have the workouts, you have the doing stuff for the kids, the charities and things like that. All that kind of stuff kind of plays a giant part in being a athlete at the end of the day. You kind of want to see these guys do more for people, more for the team, more for themselves, but you kind of hold them to a certain standard. And sometimes that standard can be a little too high. So that's why a lot of players are just kind of like nonchalant, or they don't care, because it's like you hear that kind of stuff and you're it's like people are expecting you to be a certain way, but you are your own person at the end of the day. But to drop all the rambling and things like that, this season I need it to be top tier. Like, I need it to be the best season out of all the seasons we've ever watched as people, because there's so many subjects I can go into detail about that I don't think it will be appropriate. So I'm not even going to say one specific thing, but last season was a little shaky. I think the season before that was a little shaky, and even watching it without being specific on seasons, it's just a lot of like, there's just so much behind the scenes that a lot of people believe in and a lot of people don't believe in. And from my personal opinion, I think there could have been a lot of corruption. I also believe that it's a lot that doesn't make sense. Like, for example, and if I could just give one example, like the referees. These guys work year round, and it's almost like they don't see nothing. They can't recognize things, or something happens in front of them and they don't know what call to make. And it's, to me, I'm just like, bro, you know what call to make. You sitting there watching the action happen, and you're choosing to not make a decision, or you make the wrong decision knowing that you made the wrong decision, and you act like nothing happened. It's crazy to me, because it's like, what do you think people are saying at home? You hear everybody in the stand, so you know what they're saying, but what do you think people are saying at home? And that's not to say like, oh, you should care. Like, obviously, if you made a decision, you made a decision, but don't be oblivious to what's going on in front of you. And that's what caused a lot of controversy in the NFL nowadays anyways. It's like they just blatantly decide, like, I don't care, this is what I'm gonna say, and that's just that. So to me, it's just like, it just confuses me, and it makes me laugh, because I'm like, yo, these guys do not care. Like, they're just like, oh well. But anyways, opening night was great. The Ravens and the Chiefs went head to head. The Ravens unfortunately lost, which was sad. You know, Lamar Jackson did everything he could. I wish he would have gave the ball to Derrick Henry more, because him being a new running back, I feel like you kind of have to include him into the offense a lot. And from what I saw, I think he did. I think he did okay, but they're also a new team, so they're also trying to get things together. Versus the Chiefs, you know, they had a lot of people come back. You know, they have a certain style of practice, and I'm pretty sure every NFL team has a certain style of practice. But what I heard tonight was that Andy Reid like leaves his starters on the field for like 15 to like 20 plays at a time, and they're just getting that repetition, practicing, learning the plays, doing what they needed to do in practice, so that way when it comes down to like crunch time games, they're ready for it and they know what they're doing. So I have to commend Andy on that. I think he's a good coach, great coach, and he's just handling business the best way he could. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they three-peat. I don't want them to. I want my team to win a ring, and I'll be happy. And that's actually the next subject we're going to get into. I am a Dallas Cowboy fan. Let me wait. I want to hear it. I already know everybody's like, ew, why? Why this? Why that? And it actually makes me like question, like, why do you hate the Cowboys? Is it because Jerry Jones, or is it because of the fans, or is it because you're just a plain hater? I think you're just a plain hater. And it kills me because I don't understand everybody's reasoning for hating the Cowboys. Like, now, if it's a family thing, I get it. You know, you want to cheer with your family, whatever team it is. But don't hate the Cowboys just because you just hate them. If you hate them because of Jerry Jones, that's cool too. But that's your business. If, you know, you don't like a specific player, why don't you like a specific player? What did they do to you that made you hate them? Because, for one, obviously all the players don't care who hates them. But two, it's like, you hate them because they're good? I mean, make it make sense, dog. And I've been a Cowboys fan for years. I've heard it all. I've seen it all. I will never be a delusional fan. I think we have the pieces to win a Super Bowl, but because we are the Cowboys, there's just so much hate that makes it inevitable to win a ring. And on top of that, Jerry Jones is the owner, and he makes it very hard as well. So it's just there's so many things about being a Cowboys fan that just makes life hard. But I'm still gonna support my boys. I don't care. I started watching them when who was it? I believe it was Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens was the first player on that team that really caught my eye. I wasn't watching, when they had Deion Sanders and all that. I wasn't born. I think I was born, but I didn't know anything about football, so I was never watching. And then, it just kind of carried on from there. Like, I just loved that everybody hated my team, and I always wanted to be the oddball, so it just made me happy that, they talk about my team. I don't care. And then I found out what team they have, and I'm just like, really? You hate my team, but your team is this? Okay. It's like, you don't hate me. You hate what's going on with them. I didn't do anything to you. So it just makes me, it's like, I just don't get it. How can you hate the Cowboys? Or, yeah, like, how can you hate the Cowboys and not have a reasonable reason behind it? Oh, Jerry Jones this. All the fans this. Y'all are delusional. Blah, 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 blah. But then when somebody like me spits facts to y'all and says what's up, y'all looking at me crazy like, and then y'all be like, well, that's not my point. I just hate y'all. Yeah, okay. That's great. That's a great response. But, it's neither here nor there. You got your own opinions. You got what you like. I ain't mad at you. You do what you're going to do at the end of the day. You enjoy your team. I'm going to enjoy my team. Yes, we have not won a Super Bowl since I was born. And that's cool. I'm still going to support my boys, though. I don't care at the end of the day. I like football. I like the players that we have. Yes, I want to win a Super Bowl. Is that going to happen anytime soon? Probably not. But I have faith in them every year. So I let them do the talking for me. I ain't got to say much. We got 5 rings, though. Best believe that. But realistically, man, stop hating on my team just because you don't have a team or your team sucks worse. I don't know what y'all crazy. Period. Y'all are just crazy. But I digress. And finally, on the football subject, I want to get into fantasy football, bro. I have 3 fantasy teams, and just off of week 1, I can't tell you how much I stressed tonight over the players that I had. Now, one player did exceptionally well, and that was, let me find the name. Give me a second. I'm going to get there. So the person that did good for me today was Rashee Rice, he's on Kansas City. Derrick Henry did all right. He could have did better, but Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson. And then I had Isaiah Pacheco. So those are the 3 players I had that played tonight that did exceptionally well for me. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm just very nervous about the rest of everybody else that's playing because I don't know what's going to happen. And it's making me nervous. I just want to be great at fantasy. I want to win. I want to win money. It's hard to win money. You don't, you do these things, these fantasy leagues, you put money in, and one year you win and then the rest you lose. Or you've been losing and then the next thing you win. And that's the good part about it. It's fun because you're doing it with people that you're cool with and you interact with on the daily. So when you guys are having the fantasy leagues, it's like you get to be competitive. You get to talk a little crap here and there. You get to talk about people's teams and be like, oh, your team ain't even this because blah, blah, blah. It's just fun to me. That's why I enjoy doing fantasy, and that's why I do it. every year because I get joy out of it. Even though I don't win very very much often, I still have solid years. You know, I always end up with a winning record, but I also have a lot of a lot of losses, at least 7 at the most from what I remember. I'd have to go back and look. But what can I say? When football's involved, you just love it. You just love it. So, yeah, man, that's all I really can say about football. Like I said, great opening night for the season. I wish Lamar would have made that catch happen sooner. Even the one he threw before that, I wish Flowers would have caught it. But it's the beginning of the season. That's stuff you can clean up. That's stuff you can work on. That's stuff you can get better at every single day. And the best part about it is they don't give up and they keep fighting. So that's all I got to say about it. Football is football. And it makes me happy. So, but now that we got that out of the way, let's get into a little studio sesh. First point of the day, Drake. I just want to say that man is kind of a genius to me. I've talked about him plenty of times before. Talked about him about as much as I've talked about Chris Brown. And I have to say what he's doing recently is pretty cool. Reason why I think it's cool is the fact that he made a Finsta. And for those that don't know, it's a fake Instagram. He made a Finsta, right? And he's posting like videos from songs that he's made. He's posting, you know, the songs that he was gonna collaborate with people on, specifically Kendrick, Travis, you know, Future, those people that allegedly dissed him. I mean, they did diss him, but you know, those people that allegedly don't like him. It's mind-boggling because why does he have to be hated on so much because he's so talented? And there may be more to it than, you know, I may be able to explain, but I personally think that Drake did a lot for people, and because he's at the top of the mountain and, you know, he's flexing a little bit, I think people are starting to hate that. And it's okay to you know, not like something that somebody's doing, but to just flat out diss somebody all because another top artist like Kendrick did it, lets me know that you don't have a mind of your own. I can't. It's when you're a fan of somebody and people hate on them for whatever reason, it's like, bro, what? Just like music. It's okay to like music. Yeah, you want to be mad, and yeah, you wanna, you know, hate the fact that this person and this person are beefing, but that's competition. That's just how it goes. So being mad about it ain't gonna change nothing. But accepting the fact that talent is talent just goes a long way. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. I think a lot of people just, oh, Kendrick dissed him. That means I gotta hate him. That means he's trash. That means he's this. Blah, 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 blah. And you're entitled to your own opinion, but why are you... Why? You know, just why? I'm just like confused on why. I just don't get it. But the songs that he's dropping, the few that I've listened to, bangers. Specifically No Face. I listen to that one at least once a day. And when he dropped it on Apple Music, I listened to it that day repeatedly, probably about numerous times. I can't even count on my hands how many times it did. So I'm happy for that man. I'm proud that he's still, doing his thing, because that's just what he does. He does his thing, and people hate it. But enough about Drake. I want to talk about Rich Homie Quan. Again, rest in peace to that man. He was definitely not somebody that I listened to often or at all, but the few songs that he did have, it was kind of like he was a talented artist. I liked the song that he did with Young Thug, Lifestyle, even though a lot of people don't understand what they're saying. I liked the feature that he had on Mamacita. And then there was another song when he got out of jail, I thought was fantastic. That was a very, very wonderful song. And if I could remember some of the words that he said, one line he said is, "Boy, I make way too much money to be worried about a nigga." Yeah, like what? That's hard, man. That's super hard. I don't, like I said, I don't know all of his songs. I was never just a Rich Homie fan, but I knew he had some bangers. I knew some of his songs were hits, and it's just sad to see such a young guy. I won't, not young, but like he was young. Like he was only like in his 30s, and then to see him like come out on Twitter and the news as passed away is just like completely sad. And it was because of a drug overdose. And again, I don't know the full story, but I just wanted to remind people out there, like, drugs are never the answer. Like, no matter what you're going through, no matter how you may be feeling at the end of the day, like, don't use drugs as a source to escape your pain and your problems. There's so many different options. There's so many different ways to go about it. You just have to be willing to choose to do that and help yourself at the end of the day. So, again, RIP to that man. Condolences to his family. And I hope his legacy lives on for the rest of his kids' lives. I hope they get to college with the money that he makes off his music and things like that. So that's all I can say. And finally, we are at the end of the episode where we talk about movies and friends and TV shows, actually, too. I forgot to mention that. So I have not watched a movie yet that I have not seen, but I did start watching Breaking Bad, and it is a very, very interesting show. Kind of reminds me of Snowfall, where they're kind of building this little empire. They're building this little compound off of drugs, and then they're making so much money off of it, but then they keep running into these problems and these walls, and it's just like constantly something happening. Boom, 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 something else, something else, something else. But they always find a way to get through it. And I'm on the episode where he finds out that his lung cancer shrinks. It shrinked 80%. So like his family is like super happy, and the people that he loves are around him, and they're surrounding him, and it's starting to get really good. I have to say, I never thought I'd see myself watching something like that, but the older I get, the more curious I am. So I'm just kind of like, I want to know, eventually I want to watch it. Like, let me just dive in, So I promise y'all I'm going to finish that, but I'm also going to watch a movie. I promise. I gotta find something that I have never seen and watch it for the first time, so I can hopefully tell y'all about it and y'all give me feedback. Also, I want to know what y'all's favorite team is. I want to know what shows y'all watching. Like I said, give me recommendations, please. I love that kind of stuff, and I need it. It helps me at work. it keeps me occupied at work, so I don't have to be sitting there suffering for 8 hours doing nothing but my job. You know, you got to do your job in the day, but sometimes it gets a little boring. But anyways, that's all I got for y'all guys today. I love and appreciate y'all for supporting me still and always supporting me. Still got merch in the stores, so if y'all want to go get that, let me get that. You know, the link's going to be in the description below. Also, if y'all feel like or feel so kind to donate to my Ko-fi link, I'm trying to get this PC together. I'm almost there. I have a little bit of money saved up. I'm just trying to, you know, keep it chugging, keep it going so I can, you know, start giving y'all more content. You know, I have a gaming channel that I haven't been on in a while, so I'm trying to figure that out. And then also on this channel as well, just want to make sure that it's as smooth and as put together as possible so I can give y'all my best self. So anything helps if you feel so inclined to. But that's all I got for y'all today. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace. I'm out.
Yeah, we rolling. We doing our thing. Hey, bad little shawty. She looking for me, but I gotta keep a low profile.